Let's see who's in here. Anyone joining us? Anybody?
Maybe text the group chat and see what they're doing or if they're trying to figure it out.
Well, I sent it to Mariah, to Madison, to Abby, to Molly, and I think that's it because I didn't expect Alexis. There she is.
We got another witch.
Going back, my long flowing cloak is quite comfortable.
So
No, it's not. It's actually.
I don't see anybody. Oh, wait. Abby has entered the waiting room. Admit. All right. Abby's joining us. There's Abby. Abby, can you hear me? No, she's not connected. Can't hear you yet. Let's see here. Abby, can you hear me? You're muted.
Wait, I got it. Okay, sorry, I can't figure this out.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
A prisoner in your own home. Did you get tested?
Yes. What'd you say?
Did you get tested yet?
Yeah, I got tested on Monday and we still, like, my parents got theirs within like a day and a half and I still haven't gotten mine. I like called the place and they're like trying to find, they said they'd call us back, but they still haven't.
Okay, well, hang in there.
If they're taking this long, you probably don't have it.
Yeah, for real.
You said your dad tested positive?
Yeah, my mom actually tested positive too, but then they called her today and said that she only has to quarantine for one more day because, like, as in today, and then she'll be fine, which doesn't really make sense, but I don't know.
No, it's probably because of her length of symptoms, how long it was before she got tested.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mads, hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Okay, cool. Well, you guys are now officially attending a class.
Yay!
All right. So Mariah may be joining us, may not be joining us. Do you both have access to Photoshop at home?
Yes.
Yes, I'm trying to get the free trial thing right now. It's kind of hard to use on this little tiny computer I have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as you can kind of sort of be caught up. But anyway, I tried to record Tuesday's demo and lecture, and my old recording application expired from last spring. But luckily, I have a demo on that YouTube channel link that I sent you guys about the vintage concert poster designs. So if you can watch that part, what I sent you, that will let you know what's going on.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I can find it. There we go. Yeah. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. All right, so on Tuesday, I was working on, let's see, where am I going to put you guys? Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, whatever. Okay, so I started, let's see here. I guess I'll just open a little bit of everything. Okay, so I started yesterday choosing photographs to use in my poster design. All right, and so we talked about, there's a big thing on the video that I gave you, the kind of history of vintage concert posters. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on two choices for you guys. It'll either be something that has come from, let's say, the 1950s. So I'll do 50s. And they had a very distinct look, a lot of floating heads, a lot of shapes, very specific colors. We talked about the silk screening look. Okay, lots of reds and yellows, some that are very green, some that were single person, some that were more almost like a music festival. Okay, and they would travel around like that. The other option you'll have is psychedelics from the late 60s, early 70s. And that's the demo I'm going to be doing today. These guys were the classics of the late 60s, Haight-Ashbury, Vietnam era, protest era. Okay. All right. So those will be the two style choices you'll get to pick from. Now, you will be, the main goal is to choose an act or acts that are recent, more modern, and then put them as if they were working at that time period. So in this case, I started doing a 1950s style poster for Foo Fighters and Post Malone, and I went through and turned him into a silk screen look to kind of mimic the style from the 50s. I didn't get real far with it. We talked about fonts. So if I look if I open my font book, where is font book? I shall find font book here. Hold on a second. There it is. So let's see here. No. There's a little psychedelic lettering, but I mostly downloaded 50s font yesterday, advertising script, American Purpose, very specific font styles. And if you go to any of the free font sites and type in 1950s font, you will find those type of styles. And then we'll look up psychedelic fonts here in a minute. Not 50s. Not really 50s. Let me see here. A little bit 50s. What was the one I got the other day, guys? Wasn't Jukebox, it was something box. Boxer. Yep, Boxer. So this was actually the Foo Fighters font that they use. So I was able to download that. And since it was kind of in that 1950s style, I kept it. But right now, everything's very clean. It doesn't look old yet. We're going to talk about how to make things get old here in a second. So today I was going to do the demo on how to do psychedelics. Now, the psychedelic poster era didn't always show a band at all. Oftentimes, I mean, sometimes like with this Jefferson Airplane poster, there is photography, okay? But oftentimes you would see stuff like this where they would find old illustrations and copy them. A lot of these were done by hand. And these illustrations and these fonts came from the Art Nouveau era. So let me show you what that is. Art Nouveau posters. So the Art Nouveau period was in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and you've probably seen a lot of these images before. You had artists like Alphonse Mucha, Toulouse-Lautrec, Aubrey Beardsley. Okay, lots of flowy, ornate, really, delicate outlined. Okay, and it's a very famous trend, very decorative. Even things like this peacock, everything that you can imagine that was being advertised, from absinthe to opium to bread to crackers, was being advertised and shown with this. Lots of delicate floral-y looking stuff. And then the hippies kind of adopted this because there was so much of this kind of clip art that came from the decorative arts of Art Nouveau, that they were able to kind of swipe a lot of these images. So oftentimes the band itself might not have been even depicted on the psychedelic posters. So let's look at Art Nouveau. I'll look up line art. And you get these beautiful decorations, these very smoky, viney things. And these are good bases. They did everything from doors to windows to fireplace covers, you name it. Decor was the number one part of their goal. So if you look through all this line art and things like this, you can actually swipe some of this to use in your piece, or you can recreate it if you wish. Of course, a lot of this stuff is much easier to recreate in a program like Illustrator than it is Photoshop. So, looking at the Art Nouveau elements, let's just say I'm going to pick I'm going to do an Art Nouveau. I need a face. Okay, so very elegant. You can see that this face is very famous. It's been used many times. You have these little clip art guys and gals. And I'm going to look under Tools, Size, Large, and see what I can find here. Let's see here. I'm going to do also face, line art. Keep it simplified. Okay. So let's say, just for snots and giggles, I'm going to use this gal. Open image and new tab. All right, she's nice and large. That's good. Save the image as. All right, so now I'm going to jump into Photoshop. This was just a quick sloppy thing I did yesterday or Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these two pieces and start again. So File, Open, Art Nouveau lady. Okay. Now I need to do an image size check. She's 4.5 by 4.5 inches, and she's 300 dots per inch, which is good because my poster background is also 300 DPI. I'm going to up her to about 7 by 7. Okay. And it didn't really do much. It didn't damage her any. Now, the number one thing I need to do is I've got to get rid of all this white. I just want to leave the line work. In order to do that, I have to make her a floating layer. So I'm going to go layer from background. And you'll notice that the lock has disappeared and the word background has disappeared, and now it is called layer 0. Select color range, and I just want the white. Hit OK. Everything that's white has been selected. If I hit delete, all I'm left with is the black line work. Pretty snazzy, huh? Deselect. Select all, copy, back to my poster demo, psychedelic, paste. Ah, yes, that looks good. And I'm gonna make her a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, for now, she's just a floating layer. So if I put a color behind her, it'll be see-through. Now, I have kind of a organic plop around her, but then down here at the bottom, she cuts off flat. So that's going to help us as well. I can add another design element down here. It doesn't matter. So the next thing I want to do is I need to find a font. Psychedelic font. All right. You guys on Zoom doing okay so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have a lot to pick from. I really like the font Flames, even though the L is a little funky. I like how close and tight the font is. It's going to be really good for that wrap. These are okay, not so much. They've got these big, gaudy, ploppy things. Village isn't too bad, but it's not quite soft enough. These guys, these bell bottoms, you see how much weird, wobbly, like this big space here? It's not really going to help you to get that look. I will try Village. You probably want them all to be capitals. Lower cases are not your friend in psychedelics. Superfly's not bad. Maybe I'll get that one. Gosford's pretty ornate. That might be too intense, but I'll try it anyway. Yeah, okay. Let's go to a different site, see what they have. They have any other choices. So that was Font Space. Let's go to 1001 fonts. Oh boy, that one's way too intense. Cheshire, woo, very ornate. Let's see here. Too many curly cues on that one. This one would be good if it was just the letters, but with all of the ornamentation around it, it's going to be impossible, excuse me, impossible to read. And I mean, we want it hard to read, but we don't want it impossible to read. All right, let's try another font site. 12 free, high quality, and far outside. Sure. Let's see what Shutterstock has. Get out of here. That one's not bad. Art Nouveau. I want to download that. And I have downloaded that. Sweet. Get out of there. All my controls are running away with me here. So that's not bad. That's okay, but it's not going to work for what we're trying to accomplish. Neither is that. Neither is that. No. No. That one hurts my eyes. Psychedelic caps. This one is very much like flames. So let's see if we can get this one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Very similar to flames, but I think it'll be fine. Today, Junior, download it. Okay. All right. And let's see. No. Spicy rice, maybe, if it's the capitals. All right. And let's see what else is on the list. Yeah, okay. I'll grab that one too. And that should be good enough in terms of choices. Now, one of the hallmarks of psychedelic posters is the liquefaction and wrapping and distorting of these fonts to fit into these organic little pockets. Now, this used to be hand done. These people did this by hand. Now, you'll see here, though, this Jimi Hendrix example, all the psychedelia is happening in the graphic design elements, the circles, the rounded boxes, the colors, the bubbles, but all the type is very clean and crisp. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this insane to make it, quote, psychedelic. There are different things, but if you look at this one, this Jefferson Airplane, going around the Jefferson Airplane, Friday only, and the Quicksilver Messenger Service, Saturday only, Lightning Hopkins, Fillmore Auditorium. They've literally made a shape, a three-dimensional shape using color and warping fonts. Some of the early ones. Then you have stuff like this, Martha and the Vandellas, the Paupers at the Fillmore, all of this ornate Art Nouveau stuff, they swiped. The faces, this background stuff, they swiped, and put it in there as part of the design. Let's see. This is probably one of the most famous examples. The Yardbirds. Will you get me out of Etsy? What the hell am I doing there? There. This one. You have an Art Nouveau peacock, bird feathers, Art Nouveau face, and then all this negative space, how they really warped and hand did all of this lettering. Okay, Richie Havens, July 25th through 30th at the Fillmore. These were very, very famous. The Doors. Now, how do you get this insanity to work right digitally? Luckily, Photoshop, for some reason, they kind of thought of that. So let me think of a current. Is there? Oh, I know one I'll do. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my type tool. Now, the type tool in Photoshop, and we went over this Tuesday, but it doesn't work like the type tool in Illustrator. When you click the type tool on your page, you get a brand new layer, okay? Everything gets a new layer in Photoshop. So I'm going to do all caps. Now, of course, it's white on white. We don't see it, so I'm going to give it a color. And I'll just start with black for now. Okay. Now, I'm already doing it in Flames, but I'm going to copy this and paste that because I want to run through different fonts. Now, let me zip that up. Right now, I have to double click this to get it to be activated. And I can either go up here to the top to this control bar, or I can open the character palette and I get a little more options. I get font size, font spacing. So if I went to 0, okay, it made it much tighter. They're literally touching. And then, oh, I didn't install those fonts, did I? Let me do that. Open my downloads. Village all the way through here. Open. And I get my folders. And did I get them all? We have Village. I'm going to open all these folders and see what I got. I'm looking for the TTF or OTF. There's one. Hold the command key or on the PC, the control key to skip. OTF, TTF, 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 OTF, TTF, OTF, TTF, TTF. Open and install through. Yeah, I know. One minor problem, just install it. And I'm going to install that one. Yep. That one. Yep. That one. That one. That one. And one more. That one. Okay. So now I've got all my font choices installed. So I can open my character palette and say, oh, what was one of them? Victor or something. Victor Moscow. That's what Victor Moscow looks like. I can make a copy and I can see what were some of the other ones I did there. Anybody remember any of the names? I didn't pay any attention. Oh, which one was it? Poopy. Oh, hell, I got to look at my damn thing to see what they were called. Village. Oh, Art Nouveau was one. Superfly, Gosford, Spicy Rice. All right, so now I remember the names. So let's see what Spicy Rice looks like. Spicy Rice looks like that. I'll make another copy. I'm just trying to see my options. Art Nouveau regular. That's not too bad. I'm going to move her, or I'm going to hide her for a second. I'm going to make another copy. There was one called Village, I believe. Okay. And Gosford. Didn't have anything selected. Gosford. Woo! I don't know, man. I don't know if I like the boxes around that. It's not going to be nearly as organic as I need it to be. All right, I would say this one is Flames, and there was one more that was like Flames, but a little bit cleaner. What was that one called again? Superfly. JMH. JMH. Yeah. It's very tight on the cut of its line. I don't know how easy that'll be to read. Oh, decisions, right? Okay, I think for me, Flames and Art Nouveau, and maybe this one, are some of my better choices. Now, this one's a little spread apart, but I can squish it using my character palette right here and go, oh, let's do -50. And see how much closer the font got? Let's do -75. Let's do -100. And it's really nice and tight, flowy together. Okay. All right. Out of these three, what do you guys think? 1, 2, 3.
Probably the third one. Yeah, it's great.
Everyone's going with the third? Flames wins again. All right, so I'm going to delete all these guys. They were just test runs. I'm just selecting them and hitting delete. I'll turn her back on. All right. So I need to probably write down real quick, make notes. Let's see. Bill Graham presents who would be another act that would probably work with those guys?
Oh, shoot. Tame Impala.
Okay. Special guest. Tame Impala. Let's see. Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 30th, 31st, November 1st, Fillmore Auditorium. Okay. Now all I'm doing is writing down what I want to piece together. And I can break all of this up into any number of chunks of fonts. Now, I'm thinking, all right, so I'm just going to kind of set this off to the side. I can refer to it later. I think I'm going to break up Greta Van and the word fleet. So I'm going to double click that, select the word fleet, copy, cut, and then new text box or new text layer, paste. Now the reason is I'm going to make the word fleet really big. So I'm thinking of arcing it over the back of her head. So I need to think of how I want the shape to look. Probably going to go with kind of a bean or a kidney shape here. So what do you do next? Well, I'm going to start with the big piece first. I'm going to scale it up. Double click it to make the scale thing. And now I'm going to have to do something else. I need to check first to make sure I'm not full of shit. I'm not full of shit. Yeah, okay. You cannot warp a type layer while it is still editable type. So if you remember in Illustrator, we had to do this thing called create outlines. In Photoshop, it is called rasterize. So if you're sure that it is, you can either make a copy and work with that, and if you screw up, that's fine. But I'm going to either right click, or I can use this little menu here and say blah, 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 blah. Go down, down, down. Where's it at? Okay, that's not there. Right click. That didn't do anything. There it is. So I'm going to right click there, rasterize type. Now you'll notice that the T is gone. The word fleet is still there, but it is a picture. It is no longer editable type. Now when I go to edit, transform, warp, I get all these little control handles. And I can click and pull the corner. I can bow that. I can bow this. And I can, you know, if I say I want to keep it straight, I can. If I don't, I can pull the corners in. Okay. Fatten it out a little. Bulge it at the top. Or I can squeeze it and leave a spot for the words Greta Van here. Okay. Let's see here. I can add, by holding down Option, another control bar, another control point, and get down in her hair. So I'm going to hold the Option key and click on the line, and that allows me to pull, and I have control. Look at that. See how I can really liquefy it with the control handles? Now you have to be careful. It'll get away from you. Okay? So you may not be able to get into every nook and cranny. You may have to play around with it a little bit. Option, click, new control point, bending, Option, click, new control point. Okay, so now I have it much more attached to her hair profile. Okay, so it doesn't have to be too scary. So I can bring this up now, and I may put this in kind of an eyeball shape, or I may just drag the bottom. I've got to rasterize this font, this type, right click, rasterize type, edit, transform, warp. We can drag that down in there just with these. And since you've done Illustrator already, you already know how these control handles function. We can pull this down, pull this down. Not too far, because the font will start to collapse in on itself. Okay. And so you're starting to get the beginnings of a very psychedelic look. Now, when it comes to colorization, you don't paint bucket these pieces of text. You go to the layered. I'm going to show you a trick now. This is a very hidden aspect of something. It's a little bit irritating, but if you go out here into the gray area of any layer and double click, this palette with all these options will pop up, the layer styles palette. And it gives you the ability to do lots of things. You can bevel and emboss, you can add a stroke, a shadow, a glow, a color overlay, a gradient, a drop shadow. I'm just going to do a color overlay, And let's say I'm going to pick green. Okay. And that will be the color of my font now. And then you'll notice that layer now has a sub-layer called effects. It's got the little effects icon on it that means that you've done something to it. Okay. Now, what about the background? What if I wanted a different color? Well, let's see. I can make a new layer. I'll leave the background white. I'll just make a new empty blank, nothing in it layer. Now I'll probably play with my paint bucket, which is probably hidden under a gradient. And let's see. I'll pick, we'll go to Purple Town. And then split. Okay, so now we're getting that kind of over-the-top vibe of colors. If I go to Greta, double-click, color overlay, and now it can start to happen. In fact, on her, I don't have to keep her as black outlines. I could double-click her layer and do color overlay as well. But maybe I don't want her green. Maybe I want her orange because it's a triadic. The 3 secondary colors. You see how it's already beginning to form and look like something old, something from that era. So what do you guys think? Were you able to follow along with that okay? How to warp the type, or was it kind of mind-numbing and messed up?
Abby is trying to join back in.
What's that?
Abby is trying to join back in.
Oh, okay. We lost Abs for a second. Madison, you still with us?
Yes, I am still here.
Okay. Is this making sense to you?
Yeah. How did you get the text to like be able to like move it, like make it not text anymore?
Okay. You go over to the layer and right click, and about halfway down it should say rasterize type.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Yep.
All right. And now you can have all kinds of fun with it. That was a cat.
Yeah, he has been nonstop meowing this whole time. Hey, you're fine. Go.
All right. So Abby is still stuck, huh? All right. We'll keep an eye out for Abby. Okay. Now, this may not be as clean as I want it to be. Now, you'll notice on some of these posters, if you look here at this bird, right up here, they did not want to leave that little channel empty. So they did put an element of graphic in there. It's neither text nor part of the illustration, but they wanted to complete that color. So if you have little weird things that are bugging you, like with this, with the Greta Van, I may want to make a shape that continues off here. Okay. Now here is, so if you look at this right now, you're like, okay, yeah, it kind of looks like it, but it's still digital. It's still too slick. You can do a couple different things. All right. One thing you can do is I'm going to go online and I'm going to find basically a aged background. So let's say old poster board. Oh, looky there. Images for old poster boards. parchment paper, cardboard. Some of them are digitally made and they're poopy. Like, you know, these are just digital effects and they suck. But some of them are actual, honest to God, photographs of just blank old paper and cardboard. So let's see here. Old cardboard. All right. Let's see. This is from Beck Deasy, and it's got the crease in the fold. Let's see here. Old cardboard, royalty free. Now, a lot of these, they've gotten to the point where people are like, hey, we could sell pictures of bullshit, and they charge you for them. If worst comes to worst, find your own. You'll be fine. Find something, scan it, whatever. Let's see here. Another word it's called is chipboard. All right. Chipboard background. Now this is plywood chipboard. Cardboard chipboard is a little bit different. Let's see. Sometimes it's called ragboard. Let's see here. Old cardstock background. And we're getting warmer. Why am I looking for this? Well, I will show you. Oh, what are you? Licensable, product, you suck. Okay, this one's all right. I'll steal this one. It's not very big, though. That one's bigger. That'll work. Open image, a new tab. Yeah. Save image as cardstock. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that in Photoshop. I'm going to do an image size test and see what we got. See, it's only 72 DPI. I wanted 311. Now, it doesn't matter if it's mushy or pixely, because it's going to be a blending mode anyway, okay? So select all, copy, jump back to my poster, and paste. Of course, it pastes in as a new layer. And I'm going to stretch it to fit. Now, the first thing I can do is see what it looks like if I put it on top, and then using my layer blending options, can I make it blend together? So normal, let's do overlay. So now the texture of that board is on top of the rest of everything. Did you see that? If I turn it off, it goes from super clean, gets a little more washed out. Now, if I put it underneath everything, including the purple, and I tell the purple to be an overlay, oh, it gets real bright. What if I multiply it? We don't see much. We're not seeing the cool texture we did before. So I think, oh, it's turned off is why we're not seeing it, dumbass. Overlay. She overlays, but the type doesn't, and the purple completely vanishes. multiply, we're not really seeing any blending happening. So I'm going to go ahead and move that cardboard up to the top again. And this is one thing to add it if it's got some stains or wrinkles or chip. You can also, if you think that that's too dark or too bright, you can play with the opacity of the blend layer of the paper and knock it back a little bit. So let me zoom in a bit. All right, you see the grain and the texture of the board? That's at 50%, that's it at 100. And I can knock it back some so it's not so overbearing. Okay. You could lighten it or play with the contrast of it. I go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness. I can make that board brighter, or I can make it darker. Pull back the contrast maybe. Okay, so all of these adjustments can be used to add to the look of it. Now, another thing is just like with the other posters, these were silk screened. Now, instead of doing a silk screen pattern of every piece, what if I just did a silk screen pattern that would cover the whole thing? So, File, New, and I'll do a tabloid 11x17. And let's try and put in a, what color am I going to put in there? Try a gray. Filter, pixelate, color halftone. Sure. Well, it made a halftone pattern, but there's a problem. What's the problem with my dots? Exactly, they're not black and white. I forgot before I did that. Image, mode, grayscale, filter, pixelate, halftone. Well, that's a lot of little dots, isn't it? That's 1 pixel. We might be zoomed in a little bit too much. Okay. So that is a lot of dots. They might be too tight. So I'm going to undo, filter, pixelate, halftone. Let's do 12 on the size of the pixels. A little bit better. Let's try it again. Pixelate. This is one of the things about Photoshop. You kind of have to keep trying over and over and over. 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's see what that does. Put them all in rows, didn't it? Oh, that'll mess with your eyes. All right, let's try that. So image mode back to CMYK. Select all, copy, paste on top, covers everything. That's fine, don't panic. Multiply, nah, overlay. No, that doesn't work. Let's see what that did. We have black dots on top of our image, and that's not what we want. We want them to take on the color of what's underneath them. So let's see here. We don't want to screen them. Yeah, it still looks a little too black, doesn't it? They have the black gaps in there. That's no good. So that's normal. What if just on the purple layer, I'll bring it down to the purple layer. And this time I'll do overlay. I think my dots might be too big. Yeah, they're still black. They're not purple dots. But I could. Oh, I know what else is wrong. Anybody else know what's wrong? What did I forget to do? I'm going to turn everything off and make it normal. What did I forget to do? What's there that shouldn't be there? Huh? White. Select color range. Give me the white. Delete the white by hitting delete. I'm just hitting delete over and over to really clean that out. All right, deselect. Now, when I turn everything on underneath it, we still have the black dots, but if I switch it to multiply, overlay, no. Well, let's see what that did. It says lighter color, but I don't see the dots anymore. That won't work. No, 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 no. Big black dots. Well, aren't you a pain in the ass? I want it to. No, 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 no. My halftones aren't doing what I want them to do. The turd Fergusons. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't think that's a good thing of dots. Oh, where is my dots? Layer from background. Floating layer. Delete the white. Select color range. White. Right, the checkerboards in the back. All right, so now I have this dot pattern that is see-through. I wonder, why are my dots not adopting the color? Maybe because they're black dots and they shouldn't be black dots. Maybe they should be white dots. All right, Command Z. All right, selected the color range. Now I'm going to select the inverse. And dump white into that. With a big old brush of white. So I'm going to turn all the black dots white. Then I'm going to select the inverse again and delete all the white space between the white dots. Interesting. Now let's see what I made other than a mess. Select all, copy, paste. Ooh. Well, it looks like a screen. Maybe we're on the right track. Normal, multiply, overlay. Okay, yeah, there we go. It's a little too kind of perfect. But yeah, so now everything is made up of colored dots. Okay. Now it's almost a little too perfect. I probably shouldn't have made them all line up like that. Let's see, overlay, multiply. Let's see what multiply looks like. You can't really see it. Oh, there you go. You can do the difference. All right. Now, if you're wanting to do the 50s thing, that kind of silkscreen look that we talked about, that we did on post, we turned them into little dots. Okay. All that stuff. The same thing would apply to everything on the page. So this Foo Fighters logo, it would have to be rasterized, and then it could be manipulated with overlays. So if I wanted to get that same, select all, copy, paste. I'll move it all the way to the top so we don't miss anybody. Blending mode. There you go. Again, my dots are too perfect lined up, but you can add that extra level of silk screening, kind of layer upon layer upon layer. Okay? You can offset things. So like if you wanted to make it look like the printer shimmied a little bit or something like that, you can, you know, have ghosts or little remnants, ink smears, stuff like that. All right. So far so good. Has everybody picked an act? Anybody not picked a group or a band or a bunch of people yet? All right. All right. Now don't overdo your warping. Don't overdo it to the point where it is completely illegible. If it gets out of hand, just make a new chunk of type and do it again. I am going to make a new overlay. This one's just too, the dots are too perfectly lined up. So let's see here. No. New, let my 17. Oh, paint bucket. Drop some gray in there. Now you can also manipulate this too. If I did a gradient, as my, so if I went up here and I picked a gradient, so I selected, unlike Illustrator, Photoshop has one gradient tool and it mixes it and applies it. So you select it and then you go up here to the top and you can alter your gradient type. So it's a solid, let's see, lots of colors. Let's try grays. Interesting. Guess I will go with a gray. And I will go with, I'll go with this one. And I'll add that to be a white and not just a gray. Okay. Now, right now it's linear. So I'm going to, up here, I could change it. I want it to be radial. Okay. Now it's dark on all the corners. Okay. So now when I do the pixelate and I change this to 120, 45, 92, 7, and I'll make these 10 pixels maximum. Forgot to change it to CMY or to grayscale. I've got very colorful dots. I don't want colorful dots. Image mode, grayscale. All right. Filter, pixelate, halftone. All right. And then select color range, white. Background color. Oh, it's a background. I need to make it a floating layer. Now I can delete it. Now I can turn it back to CMYK. Yeah. Select all, copy, paste. Ended up looking like the damn Warner Brothers intro. Let me see if that's a redraw error or if that's the way it came in. Looks like it came in that way. Oh, hell, I forgot to make them white. So many steps. Zooming in, select, color selection, color range. No pixels were selected. Select color range. All right, fine. Where is that? Ooh. Image mode, grayscale. Zoom in. select color range, white. There we go. Now I'm going to invert it. Oh, that didn't help. Deselect, image, adjustments, invert, turn everybody white. All right. Select all, copy, paste. And now let's see if I can't get it to join other colors. I think we're getting closer. Actually, I think we got it. There we go. So the dots are a little more spaced out, a little more random. And now it's looking more like a real silk screen. Okay? Mads, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. I guess we lost Abby for good. Of course, she's out in Bourbon, so whatever gerbil was running the generator that kept the internet going probably passed out. So who's doing 50s? 1, 2, 3, and everybody else is wanting to do psychedelics? You bunch of druggies. All right. Mads, I can either leave you stay on here or in case some questions come up, or you can depart and go do your business.
Okay.
So up to you.
I might stay for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
just
in case.
yeah, that way you can ask questions. I am going to take it. Actually, it is break time. So if you guys want to pee, eat, whatever. Okay, so you've got a black and white image. You want to pitch the white, make it see-through. Okay, so what you do, all right, I'm gonna revert this back to the original. All right, so I start out with something like this, right? And over here on my layers, it says background, right?
This is there.
Okay, so you already made it a layer, good. And then just layer 0, layer 1, whatever. Is there anything else underneath it? All right, take that background and drag it down all the way to that little bitty trash can at the bottom. And that should just leave you with a layer, right? Okay. Next step is you go to select up at the top and color range, and then just click anywhere on the empty white. Set the fuzziness all the way up to 200. That means it will get everything even close to white. Okay? Hit OK. You should end up with marching ants literally everywhere, right? Now simply hit the delete key. And it should reveal a checkerboard. All right, now you go to select, deselect, and then you simply select all, copy, paste.